Sachas Nazir Daf Nun Hey contains two primary sugyas. The Gemara is first looking to pin a machlokes Amoraim on a machlokes Tanaim about the reason that Chutz La'aretz is considered to be tamei. The Gemara will try to show that it's a related machlokes. The Gemara will give three explanations of the machlokes Tanaim that makes it unrelated to the machlokes Amoraim. Then we'll get into the next sugya, which will discuss when you can actually count Taras as part of Nazirus. So let's begin. The Gemara has already asked the question, what is the reason that Chutz La'aretz is considered to be tamei? Is it because we assume that there is actual mesim all over the place? Or is it because the Chacham made gzeira that all parts of Chutz La'aretz, including its airspace, are innately tamei tumas meis, and they did that as a construct in order to keep people from leaving Eretz Yisrael? So Gemara wants to say this is the pshat behind a Brisa that has a machlokes. The Brisa discusses a case of somebody went into Chutz La'aretz inside a box, a shida teva umigdal, a box which blocks tumas mace from rising into it, and therefore would save somebody from tumas ohel. So there the halacha is, the Rebbe says that he's tamei anyway, even though he's in the box, and Rabbi Yehuda says the box blocks the tumas, so he's tar. So the Gemara wants to say pashtus machlokes is over this issue. According to Rabbi Yehuda, he's tar because the only issue is that there are mason around, and it's considered to be tumas mace. If he's inside a box, so he's safe from that. According to Rebbe, though, the Chachamim were making a construct to keep people out of Chutz La'aretz, so therefore this doesn't work. They applied it for that situation also. So that's the Gemara wants to say it's dependent on this issue. The Gemara gives a number of explanations that it could be not dependent on this issue. So the first explanation, the Gemara says that everybody holds that it's a real tumas mace. It's clear that there's real tumas mace everywhere. The machlokes is a moving box. Is that block from tumah or not? According to Rabbi Yehuda, it blocks from tumah even though it's moving. According to Rebbe, a moving box does not block from tumah, and therefore he's tamei anyway. So the Gemara says this can't be correct because you know that Rabbi Yehuda holds that a moving box does not block from tumah. So it wouldn't make sense for him to say that it does block from tumah. The Gemara brings a brisa. Rabbi Yehuda says, if you have a box that's filled with kalim and it is thrown over a mace, over the dead, so if it's moving, it is tamei. The kalim inside are tameim because a moving box does not block tumah. If, however, it is stationary, it is held in a stationary way over the mace, then it is considered to be an effective block of tumah, and they are tum. So you see clearly here that Rabbi Yehuda holds a moving box does not block tumah, and that wouldn't make sense according to the explanation we want to give here, that the reason that he holds that it's tahar if somebody goes into Chutz La'aretz in a box is because he holds that even though it's moving, it will block the tumah. So that's pshat is rejected. So now the Gemara goes to other pshatim. So the Gemara says no, everybody holds that the reason that there is tumah is because of the gzeira d'Rabbanan to keep people in Eretz Yisrael. But since it's not normal to go into Eretz Yisrael inside a box, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the gzeira does not apply there because it's not normal. We have a rule: a gzeira d'Rabbanan never applies in a rare, unusual situation. And according to Rebbe, it applies there anyway, even though it's a bit strange and it's unusual. The gzeira was meant to apply there as well. The Gemara brings a brisa to prove that this is true. Brisa says somebody goes into Chutz La'aretz in a shida teva umigdal is tahar, but if he's in a wagon or if he's in a or if he's in a ship with a tall mast, there it's tamei. Because, and the reason obviously is because that's considered usual. There's nothing unusual about that. Next, the explanation the Gemara has is maybe there's a gzeira that he's going to stick his head out of the box. That is, we're assuming that the reason for the tumah is because of real tumas mace, and we're assuming that the box, even if it's moving, blocks the tumas mace. However, the machlokes is we're talking about where it's not moving, whatever it is. The machlokes is, do we have a gzeira d'Rabbanan that he may stick his head out of the box and we should be matamei him because he's going to do that? Rabbi Yehuda says you don't have to worry about that, so he's tar, and the Rebbe says that you do, and therefore he's tamei because of gzeira d'Rabbanan. In order to support this, the Gemara brings a brisa where Rabbi Yehuda says that somebody goes into Chutz La'aretz in a box, in a teva umigdal, is tahar. And again, obviously, then it's not moving until he sticks his head out, or the majority of the body out. But if he hasn't, then we don't make a gzeira like that. Okay, that concludes this sugya. Now the Gemara goes on to the next sugya. We're discussing the time of taras. So while a person is a mitzvah, what is the halachic status of his nazirus? It could be that his nazirus days count while he's a mitzvah. It could be that they're suspended. but he doesn't lose his previous days, or it could be that he loses even his previous days. So we've seen clearly that he does not lose his previous days. Our mission seems to indicate that his previous days are suspended. He doesn't lose them, but they don't count while he's a Mitzayra. Says Rechizda, it depends how long his Naziris was. If his Naziris was a minimum Naziris of 30 days, that's when his Naziris is suspended, and it doesn't count while he's a Mitzayra. If, however, it's a long Naziris, let's say 100 days, so then it will count even while he's a Mitzayra, even his Mitzayra days, he could count toward his Naziris. He doesn't have to start. He doesn't have to skip the days that he is a Mitzayra. So, Mara Sakasha, how you read our Mishnah? Our Mishnah says that he starts counting his Naziris after he finishes his Taras. Now, at the end of his Taras, he took a haircut. So, what are we talking about over here? Was this a long Naziris or a short Naziris? If it's a short Naziris, which is only 30 days long, that means that while he was a Mitzayra in the middle, he took a haircut, he's not going to have 30 days growth. So it can't be that he can start counting as soon as it's over and just finish his Naziris within the 30 days. You won't have 30 days hair growth. So it's got to be talking about where he was Nazir, let's say, for 100 days. And let's say he became a Mitzayra by day 25. So when he finishes, he still has 30 days left. So he can continue. But clearly, the Mishnah is saying that while he's a Mitzayra, his days are suspended. He doesn't continue. So why are his days going to be suspended? According to what you just told me, he can actually count those days if it's a long Naziris. So the Gemara answers, we're talking about where it was 50 days or less. And in a case like that, we will agree, because you need to have 30 days of hair growth. So if you need to have 30 days of hair growth, so that's the situation in which you don't count the days that are that he is a Mitzayra. He needs to have 30 days afterwards. So if he has 30 days left at the time that he becomes a Mitzayra, he doesn't count the days of his Mitzayra, and he has 30 days left. As soon as he finishes, it's fine. If, however, he has more than 30 days left, that is, let's say it was a 50-day Taras, and 25 days went by, so then he'll count, well, if it was more than 50, so if it was a 20-day Taras, and if it was a 55-day Naziris, and 20 days went by, so he has 35 days left, so he'll count 5 of the days of his Taras towards the Naziris, and then he'll only have 30 days left when he finishes. So the klal therefore is that if he has 30 days left, he will count them. If he has more than 30 days left, he can count his actual Taras times towards that number. But he's got to have at least 30 days of non-Mitzayra Naziris time after the Taras actually ends.